Hey everyone, I'm Everyday Buddy Fighter, and well, we're gonna play some Deity Yankee games. So in this game, I'm going to start opening with the Thousand Fingers, and since it has Soul Guard and its ability procs every time it's destroyed, is a pretty decent opening. Since obviously since I'm going first, I can't really steal everything from my opponent. So you know, so my opponent's playing Japanese Blade, and he's gonna try to draw cards, but obstruct stops you from drawing cards, and with that, Thousand's ability to force your opponent to discard really comes in handy, since my opponent won't be able to draw for like a while, and he's forced to discard 2 cards if he destroys it twice. So like right now, so my thing dies, and then he unlocks 2 cards in his hand. I'll be happy to take 2 damage. It's easy enough. Loyalty is not going to help me, so I'm just going to send that to my gauge, and I'm just going to search out for a card that also doesn't require me to pay my opponent's gauge. So I'm going to search out Ball Combs. So I'm going to just call 2 monsters that require me to pay gauge, Roaring Hydra and Ball Counts, and I'm going to equip my item, which is my monster move, so, and 4,000 power, so in case I don't kill my opponent, it works out for me. But Roaring Hydra is pretty unique, it's pretty good since it's a size 0, so I can call it with Thousand Finger, and its ability destroys a monster, deals damage. I can force my opponent to either lose gauge or discard a card, which is good. Ball Count only gets rid of gauge, which I think is kind of a meh. The impact would have killed him regardless, so I'm ending with that. My opponent does something very smart though, since he knows what I'm playing. If he has no gauge to give up, then he can't really do anything, and the Thora's Soul Guard does help out against Doggazias. So he's just going to attack me for 2, and then at this point I'm just like, I have nothing to do. Honestly, I'm just going to play the set spell and just put Roaring Hydra in my center, so I just have nothing to do. Like, I'm forced to pass. I have no cards that will give my opponent gauge, so it's over at that point. I have nothing, so I do force to discard a card at least, and I get to draw a card, hoping for a defensive card. Don't get to draw one, sadly. I do get an item though that lets me pay my own stuff, so that's nice. So my opponent's just going to rip through me for a little bit. Luckily, I survive since he has no gauge, so he can't cast an impact. So I'm just going to act draw into a searcher, which is good. So I'm going to search out a monster with this. I'm going to search out Daipa, which gives my opponent gauge, which is just what I needed. So Daipa gives him a gauge. I get 2 gauge, and I get to draw a card. So it's a very good card, definitely worth 4 playing. So now I'm going to just Buddy called Doggazias by getting rid of the item, since it can prevent the card from leaving anyway, so I was going to do that. And since like even though I can just equip the item and keep attacking, that's not really enough, so I'm going to equip my item first, and then I'm going to call over Doggazias. And call Doggazias gives my opponent 2 more gauge, since he doesn't have any gauge to return. I don't get the 2 life bonus, so I kind of need to finish him off now. Guess who works off 1 gauge, and since my opponent will have 1 less gauge, I think it's double attack. Junk Sky gets me back 2 monsters for my drop in exchange for resting it and paying a gauge, so definitely worth it. I'm gonna Doggazias again, since it's not limited to once per turn calls, which I think is dumb, but I think it's funny, honestly. So now that I enter the attack phase, my monster will get 4,000 power. Guess who has double attack since my opponent has engaged. I'm going to attack into a Thor. He can't use overturn, so sucks. You know that's always good. He's going to use the other Thora though to reduce my monster's ability by 5,000 and reduce the crit by 1. So that's kind of a bummer, but what can you really do? I do get to restand him though because he does have double attack, so at least that's convenient. Doggazias will just attack a Thor. Since Thor is dead, the bird damage will apply, and I get to gain 2 life. And I'm just going to wail on him, but of course Phase Seal Chain prevents it, so haha. He's forced to discard 1, and the Thor decks don't really do much without gauge, so at that point I win. Next game is against Black Dragons. It's against Death Count Requiem, which was convenient is that Death Count Requiem doesn't have Soul Guard, so since Doggazias doesn't destroy it, I could just immediately send it to the drop. It's not by destruction, so it can't be protected, so at that point, that's it. But he doesn't play Death Count Requiem, or he didn't play it when I was facing him, so kind of a bummer. So I'm just gonna, at this point, just gonna waste his gauge, get rid of Bow not by destruction, so he doesn't get any of the bonus. Waste another gauge for Gasilis. Gasilis will force his discards when you have no gauge, so pretty great card. And of course my item is nice to have, just in general. Just keep hitting him. He forces his card a card. Dogazias does damage to him, so he takes 2 more damage, which I think it's gross. And then pop, he's on to 5 life, and then gauge, 1 gauge for 5 damage. Completely balanced. 10 out of 10. Against certain Ace decks though, there isn't really like a good matchup. Like True Dragon Tribe, it's super consistent. Like they get lots of draws, they get tons of gauge, which is why you want to run Loyalty and Obstruct. Gesu also works since when it's destroyed you get to pop more cards, and Haphazard pops 2 cards, then you use Gesu's ability to pop another card, so that's 3 cards for 1 gauge. But I think it's great. And it's a counter, which is better. So in this regard, he's going to use Dragon Breath to wipe my monsters, and then Gesu's is going to force him to kill Garga, so he can't G-Evo. He's just going to equip an item and then does attack me for 2, which means that he had G-Evo in his hand, so he couldn't do anything. So yeah, my opponent has no gauge though right now, which is kind of a bummer. But what can you do? I do draw 2 Obstruct, which if he was planning into going into Sonic, he can't draw, so which is good. Honestly, what the deck reminds me of is Yu-Gi-Oh's Kaijus. You just steal your opponent's stuff and then you get to gain advantage, which I think is kind of dumb, but I mean, in essence, it's not like these cards are... They're kind of dumb, honestly. they're a little bit dumb, but yeah. So he forces his cards every turn, which makes drawing basically pointless. So, but he does Buddy Call Gargantua into a Dragon. If we had a Blast mode, I would have lost. So I did get lucky here. He's just gonna wipe out my monsters, wipe, and just keep going, and he's gonna try to go G-Evo into Sonic, but I am going to play Obstruct, so he can't draw 2 cards. He's only going to gain 2 life points, which is fine with me. With no gauge and no cards in his hand, it's guaranteed game over. So I'm just gonna play my turn. I'm gonna remove all his soul cards with Haphazard after I call Jack Zeros, but at this point I win the game, so it's pretty easy. You can see how your cards pretty much just screw your opponent over and gain tons of advantage, which is actually nice for Danger World decks since they just usually just, here's an FTK, that's it. I do like how this is the new playstyle for Danger World, so yay. So I'm Everyday Body Fighter, and since I've showed off 2 Ace decks, the next deck I'll show off is the Link Dragon Orders. I'm gonna do Yuga's Varga deck last, so that's just gonna be how it is. But until then, just here's me finishing off my opponent, and I will see you again later.